I started surfing when I was 2. My dad held me up on a board when I was at Malibu Surfrider Beach when I was 2 years old. But I really got into it and started going out a lot as like a hobby at 8. And then it gradually went to, when I was 13, competitions. And that's when everything happened. I don't remember my first surfboard really because my dad had so many of them there because he's been surfing for like 40 years. So my dad would give me hand-me-downs. Like he had a really old 60s board and then he had my first shortboard was actually a really huge board that was made out of balsa, and it was an orange color, and it was called the canister because it floats really well, and that was my first shortboard.
I'm Francesca Seeley, and I'm a professional surfer.
My first competition was at Malibu Surfrider Beach, and it was a coalition contest. It was more for fun, and I did pretty well on it. I think I got 3rd. My first professional event was nerve-wracking and very intense. I felt a lot of what everybody feels like when it's their first professional event. But I overcame it, made a couple rounds, felt really good. The waves were not ideal. It was in Cocoa Beach, Florida, so the waves are kind of fickle there. But I did my best, and my first contest in WSL kind of drove me to do more and try harder. I've had a really good year in my longboarding. I won the USA Championships. I've won West Coast Championships last year in shortboarding, and I'm getting back on the horse in shortboarding. I want to do more of the junior tour this year and then gradually go to the QS at the same time. I just want to take steps, so I'll be ready for the big leagues, kind of. The feeling of surfing is kind of like painting on a canvas. You can draw out any lines you want. It's a beautiful thing. I think it's an art, actually, because you don't know what lines you're going to create, and it's beautiful. It's my place where I love to show my stuff. It's fun, and there's nothing like it. It's just an adrenaline rush that I have, and if you surf, you're gonna get it. Probably you'll get it at least once if you start surfing, and it's something I'm gonna do till I die. Gliding down a wave is like my happy time, my like what I love to do, and I've been doing it forever, and it's kind of, there's no other feeling. It's beautiful. It's an art form. I think anyone who tries to surf will have that feeling of just pure happiness. So I think that's why most people do it, because it just gives you a natural high and you're always stoked afterwards, I think. For longboarding, my favorite surf break would be First Point Malibu, and for shortboarding, I have 2 favorite surf spots. I love Lower Trestles, so there's a perfect rippable wave, and Black's Beach because it's heavy and really fun. Training is exhausting. I train every day. I surfed already today for 3 hours in the morning. 4 hours in the morning, and then usually at night, or if the surf isn't good, I'll train for about 2 to 3 hours, probably my leg works and core strength, because those are the things that I need most work on, and I do a lot of yoga, so it's a lot of work, and it's more work than people think. It's very important to have the right surfboard for the right conditions. In small crumbly waves, you might need like a bigger fish to go through flat sections, or like a longboard, and for more punchier waves, you might need a bigger board with more less volume. So when it comes to different conditions, you definitely need the right board. You can't just have the same board for every condition. You need to experiment. My favorite surfer, my first favorite surfer when I was young was Rob Machado, because he was just style master, seriously. And Marco Calupo for the shortboard guys. I really liked their style, and they were the first progressive guys, I think. And for girls, I love Courtney Conalog. She's a beast, and same with Carissa. And for longboarding, I love CJ Nelson's style. CJ is he can switch stance on the nose while hanging 10, and I'm just like, I don't know how you do that. And inspirations outside of surfing would be my parents, and I'm a really big fan of Deepak Chopra. So. I'm going to study at UC San Diego film and art, and I'm going to do probably a philosophy class, marketing class, and financial, because I think you really, when you're going into the real world, you're going to really need to learn about finances. So I think that people need to not only care for the ocean, but realize it's a beautiful place, we should take care of it, and it's a dangerous place at the same time. There's a lot of people who don't know what they're doing out in the water. There's a lot of people who don't understand how powerful it can be. Poke. I'm really a big fish eater. I love poke. Poke is tuna, and it's into little squares, and it's raw, and what they put a little bit of seaweed on it, and maybe some soy sauce to marinate it with sesame seeds and a little bit of ginger, and you're good to go. You put it in a little bowl, and that's basically your lunch. And acai bowls are also a thing that I miss a lot, because it's my favorite dessert. It's acai berry, and it's yogurt, acai berry. Then they put a bunch of granola, bananas. It's everything you could really need in a little container. So I like to have that before I surf if I can.